girl took the initiative and proposed marriage to her boyfriend, but that proposal crushed him instead. He couldn't even afford a proper wedding right now. Deep down, his insecurity made him turn her down. A month later, at the girl's father's funeral, the boy's mood was incredibly heavy. When his eyes swept over his old friends who once shared his ambition, they'd all made names for themselves in their own fields, while he still hadn't achieved anything. When his best friend talked with him, he couldn't help but pour out all his negativity. He even regretted that maybe if he'd never met the girl again, he wouldn't have ended up like this. And every word was accidentally overheard by the girl behind him. Their love had become incredibly heavy because of the boy's sacrifices. And those two words, "I regret," shattered them completely. The girl knew clearly, even if they moved past this, there would be more regrets waiting down the road. The next night, the boy regained his confidence, saying he'd get his teaching certificate, that he'd work hard for their future together. But the girl had already made up her mind to take the company's assignment to Milan for further study. The boy decided to wait for her at home. A long-distance relationship would be his punishment for the hurtful words he'd said. But when he looked at her hand and saw she wasn't wearing the ring, he completely panicked. After she left, his world collapsed again. It took him a long time to finally move past the darkness. He earned his teaching certificate and became a high school swimming coach. He often led kids to competitions, and surrounded by their youth and laughter, he finally found his footing again. But then one day, a wedding invitation shattered the peace he'd built over the years. He isolated himself on a small island, drowning his sorrows with friends, unable to face reality. He sat there from evening until dawn, pulling out the box of rings she'd once given him. Memories of their vows washed over him, like a dream that had faded all too quickly. Just as he was putting the rings back in the box, he noticed a small note he'd overlooked for years. He carefully, slowly unfolded it. The love written in the girl's handwriting instantly filled his eyes. At that moment, the tears wouldn't stop. All these years, he'd been trapped by the thought he couldn't give her a grand wedding, couldn't give her a good life, never realizing that even in his lowest moments, she still thought he was priceless. This truth shattered every wall he'd built. Like a man possessed, he woke his friends, racing desperately in the opposite direction of the wedding. Finally, just before the ceremony began, his friends distracted everyone, clearing a path for him to reach the bride's dressing room. There he saw the girl in her white wedding dress, her beautiful face now holding more gentleness and the calm that comes from a settled life. But he wasn't there for a dramatic wedding crash. He just wanted to say a proper, peaceful goodbye to her, to thank this girl who had been by his side for 15 years. It was only today that he finally understood. Love is responsibility, and it's also accepting all the costs of the choices you make. You can never allow yourself to regret the choices you've made.